chap asked me there, or made a comment rather, on one of my YouTube videos about where do I get the information about various cases and so on. There's a number of places. Firstly, I have a subscription to the Irish Times, so I have the app on my phone or iPad or my computer, and I check through the Irish Times, the crime and law section, every day to see is there anything interesting, is there anything that might be interesting for viewers of this channel and that I might be interested in covering, making a video about. Mary Carolyn, I think is the lady's name. She's the crime or legal affairs correspondent with the Irish Times. She's very good, and she does very good reports on the various cases that come up. So that would be a first sort of flagging up of a case that I might look into in more detail. You could also use the likes of the Irish Independent and the Examiner. They cover cases, legal cases and WRC cases quite extensively, Workplace Relations Commission cases quite extensively as well. So they'd be worth keeping an eye on. So they'd be primary sources to give me, or to flag up something that might be, as I say, of interest to viewers of this channel and of interest to me as well. I have to be interested in it, and you'll see that I don't cover a lot of criminal law, for example, or the likes of road traffic, drink driving, stuff like that, because I don't actually do that law anymore, so I don't really cover it very, very much on this channel. Second area that I'd be looking at would be Twitter. So I follow Orla O'Donnell, the RTE legal affairs correspondent, on Twitter, and I follow Mary Carolyn from the Irish Times on Twitter. And I'd keep an eye on my Twitter feed, and I would see what they're tweeting about, because they tweet whatever cases they may be covering or writing about for either the Irish Times or for RTE radio, TV and radio. So Twitter is another good source. Again, it flags up or indicates to me something that might be worth looking at. Then for a more detailed look at the actual cases themselves, I go to the courts website. That's courts.ie. And if you go to the courts website, it's open, no difficulty accessing it, general public accessing it. There's a decisions or determinations, I think it's decisions section or tab. If you click on that, you can do a search for a particular decision, written decision, from the High Court and from various courts, including the Court of Appeal, Supreme Court and so on. So that's where I would get a more detailed outlining of the decision and the background and the facts and what was said and so on and so forth. And that's a very, very useful resource as well, courts.ie. And finally, one that I have, it's the Law Society. The Law Society send solicitors an email with a link or links to various cases every week by email, and they would link to various decisions that have just been made or handed down in the previous week or so, and that would flag up something of interest as well. So the email will contain maybe 8, 10, 12 cases and then a summary of those cases, and obviously I'll scan through them and see if there's anything of interest to me. There's certain things of no interest, for example the criminal law stuff, the criminal law appeals, perhaps immigration law appeals and all that sort of thing. I don't do that sort of law, so I've no great interest in it. Not at the moment anyway. Now I'm not going to be doing criminal law either, because I did it before and I won't be doing it again. But that's where I get my information about cases. That's where the cases are flagged up. And if you have an interest in cases, or if you have an interest in anything, you can actually use the likes of Twitter as a very, very good source of topics on whatever you might be interested in. So whether it's legal cases, case law, legal topics, legislation changes, etc., or it could be completely different, something completely different, fishing or cycling or rugby or GA, hurling, football or whatever. You can set up Twitter in a way that will be very, very useful and can provide a great source of information, like a stream. So amongst all of the I was just saying there before the camera went belly up that Twitter can be a sewer. It can be a sewer of crap and hate and bitterness and misogyny and homophobia and transphobia and everything else. But amongst all of that nonsense, that stream of crap you'll come across, you can also use Twitter very, very effectively as a tool to deliver up content to you that you want to or have an interest in. So that's the way that I use it. I'm not too fussy about getting involved in ridiculous scrapes or rows with people or commenting on a lot of bullshit, but it can be very, very useful to, as I say, deliver up a stream of tweets to you, because obviously you can curate your feed, set up your feed in a way that you're only going to get tweets about stuff that you're interested in. And if it's cricket or cycling or legal cases, legislation, you can set it up in a way that'll be your source. It'll be like a stream of useful information. It'll flag stuff up to you. There'll be links, and from there then it's up to yourself, if you have an interest and passion in whatever subject you're looking at, to investigate it further and to dig deeper and get down amongst the weeds. Hope you find this video useful. If you do, I'd appreciate if you gave it the thumbs up down below. Thanks a lot.